It's truly an honor to be here tonight. We love Montana, and we love the fact that we can represent the Hall of Fame for all the people that helped me get to this point. But there's a couple of things that I kind of off script here, Tara, but a couple of things I want you to know about that I've been thinking about a lot is that I had coached for 40 years, and the Hall of Fame people called me after I volunteered to be a strength coach at Sandy High School in Sandy, Oregon. So I'm thinking, that's the secret, guys. If you want to get to this podium, volunteer at your local high school and you're going to have a much better chance. Secondly, something that you probably don't know, and the pro players that you guys know what this is all about. I took as the strength coach, I was asked to be the practice snapper. You know, so you snap, you do the center snap, and so you, after stretch lines, you go with the quarterbacks, and you hang out with the quarterbacks, and you snap to them. And I figured over the 17 years, I snapped 130,000 practice snaps. And with each and every one of those, you know, you go up, you get over the ball, and you're hoping that you got the snap count right, because Brett Favre is waiting for the snap. Aaron Rodgers was waiting for the snap. Tony Romo was waiting for the snap. Matt Hasselbeck, Jake Delhomme, all of these names that you've heard before, and it was fun as heck. I got to spend the whole time with the quarterbacks and watch those guys, Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, as I'm over the ball. I can hear their ball sizzling over my head as it spun. You could hear it go by. And I'm like, wow, that ball's moving fast and spinning hard. But 130,000 practice snaps, fellas, and never got paid for a down on the field. But it was great. Thanks to Rick and his staff and the board. Very honored, very pleased. This really, truly offers validation to my career choice. Now, you have to understand that I went to college thinking that I was going to be an engineer. And calculus didn't go very well. And so I go home and I say, Mom and Dad, I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll be a strength coach instead. And they're like, well, what's that? Because there wasn't very many. At that time, there was just the NFL and a few of the major powerhouse colleges that had strength coaches, but I kind of hoping that it might work because I liked weight training and it helped me in college, and I helped my college teammates out, and so Mom and Dad said, yes, go ahead and pursue it. And that was the start. I have to tell you, though, that in those 40 years, I did what I was told to do, what I was taught to do, and what I was trained to do. And the athletes and the coaches I worked with made this happen. So I was there for them, and eventually it came around, and I get to represent them as the true people that deserve this honor. I simply did what I was trained to do. Montana. Terry is from Miles City, and so we're leaving Brookings, South Dakota, after I got my graduate degree, and we're heading to Bozeman. You can't believe how excited we were. It was just like coming home for Terry, and it offered us a chance to get this whole thing started. The glory of the West, Montana. I got there in '82 with Doug Graber and Tom Perrick, kind of having the foresight that they were going to go ahead and create this position, and worked with a lot of great players, and truly I would not be here tonight if it wasn't for the success of the 1984 team. I'm thankful for my wife. We've been married for 43 years next week.
43 weeks.
43 years next week, John. But she has set up 12 households in those 40 years, which is amazing. And she's a true adventurer. Moving from Montana to New Jersey was a difficult call. It was hard for us, but Doug Graber was good enough to hire me a second time, and off we went to New Jersey. Terry and I and the Saints, we also made it through Katrina. Very interesting. We're on our last preseason game in Oakland, and we're on our way home. Katrina has devastated our hometown, and they come over the microphone on the airplane, and you can barely understand them, but they're telling us that our new home for the next 4 months will be San Antonio. We're not going home. And everything worked out. We were blessed that our house was fine. And but it was an interesting 4 months, and I have to tell you that Jim Haslett, I don't think has ever gotten the credit that he deserves for moving all those guys away from their homes, away from their families, to hang out and play football for 4 months in San Antonio. And he did a wonderful job at keeping that team together. It's amazing. I'm very proud of being part of all that. My family, I come from an accomplished, award-winning, very talented group. I was named Rocky at birth. Dad was a sports writer, and Rocky Marciano was the heavyweight champ. And he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, that kind of looks like Rocky Marciano. Let's go with that name." And Mom's like, "Well, let's think about it for a little bit." And about 7 days later, my official name is Roger, and I don't go by Roger very much, but part of the family, my two brothers are here, and Glenn would call me Roger, and Ted would call me Rock, and everything was fine. That's just the way it worked out. But yeah, interesting how that came about. A lot of people ask about that. Dad introduced me to sports, and Mom taught us how to be good. My brothers are supportive. They're here tonight with my two nephews, my niece-in-law, my sister-in-law, and of course my wife are all here tonight. So I think there's a couple little ones way in the back that came in to just hear us for a minute. Yeah, so there's 12 Gullicksons in the house. And that doesn't happen very often. All right, let's fast forward to my first days at Montana State. I'm walking through Brick Breeden Fieldhouse, and I'm kind of getting a feel for the fact that Bill Kohler is something special. His picture was everywhere. And I hadn't met Bill, and I thought, I'm going to ask Chuck Carnup, our trainer, our head athletic trainer, if Bill Kohler was to show up someday, please, you got to bring him up to the weight room. And so some time went by, and all of a sudden, here comes Chuck with Bill, and I had a chance to meet Bill, and we became fast friends. You know how easy it is to like somebody that instantly likes you, and you're like, well, Bill's pretty cool. And he taught me a lot of lessons. As a matter of fact, I was powerlifting back in those days, and I'd gone up to the state meet in Helena, and Al Roy was putting on a great meet, and Chance Ferlicka was my competition. And I had told everybody that on this particular day that I was going to squat 800 pounds. And I weighed 242, and I'm nervous. I mean, I'm so nervous. And that morning I can't eat, and we get to the meet site, and I get weighed in, and everything's fine, and I go to warm up, and everything's fine. I get my first and second attempts in just fine, but now it's that 800-pound lift. And the place is packed. Terry is sitting where she's supposed to be sitting because I told her, while I'm squatting, I've got to look at something that's stationary. So you sit still while I'm doing the exercise, because I need that. Because everybody else is moving around a little bit, you just stay still. So she sat up there, and I'm wrapping my knees, and it's deathly quiet. I'm like, God, I wish somebody would say something. And so you're kind of out there on an island, and everybody's waiting for you to come up and do the lift. And I knew. I hear that. I hear that. Bill Kohler's up in the crowd. Give it to us one more time, Bill.
Go get it, Mr. B!
Yeah. Now, thanks, Bill. Now, with that, I had to make the lift, right? And I did, and it was great. And just having that, the lesson I learned was it's not necessarily the words that you say, but it's kind of how you say it that has the effect. And I thought that was just super. And I always look forward to seeing Bill on the sidelines as we played through the years in the NFL. One more quick story. I'm in my second year, and Tom Perrick and Doug Graber now Dave Arnold, our head coaches, they empowered me to run the weight room exactly the way that I wanted to do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm 28 years old. I'm in charge of this weight room. I'm training 250 kids pretty much by myself. I'm going to put up the hours, and we're going to be real strict about the hours. And it was summertime, so there wasn't too many athletes around. So the gym was going to open at 7:30. So I get to work at 7:15, and we were upstairs at that time. And as I came around the corner, I saw an older than college age athlete stretching, kind of warming up, and I'm like, good morning. And I walk into the weight room and I close the door and it's locked because I have 15 minutes to kind of get squared away. And pretty soon there's a knock at the door. And I'm like, okay, I open the door just a crack. And the same athlete that I don't recognize, he says, any chance I can come in and work out? And I'm like, the hours are posted right there. It says 7:30. It's 7:15. So give me 15 minutes and I'll open the door. And he goes, okay, no problem. I'll keep warming up and stretching and so forth. And just like that, I close the door and my phone is ringing. And it's Coach Arnold. And he says, we've got a special guest in the building today. And I'm just starting to get nervous already. And I want you to take care of him. He's probably coming up to the weight room to get a workout. So I reopened the door quickly. I knew my mistake. It was Hall of Fame or future Hall of Famer. And in your first class here at the Montana Football Hall of Fame, Jan Stenerud. And I said, Mr. Stenerud, you can come in. Do you need water? Do you need a towel? Do you need anything that I can help you with? But that was my introduction to Jan. Years later, he came to a Green Bay game. It was a night game, and the Packers won. And we're all in the coach's locker room, and we're getting, we're all just happy as heck. And there's one of the equipment guys comes running in, and he's out of breath. Jan Stenerud is here. And he wants to see, and he stops. And all the coaches are just like, me. And he goes, no, he wants to see rock. And everybody's like, the strength coach? Why would? And I said, fellas, it's a Montana State deal, okay? And I appreciate the Bozeman community. If I needed something, some type of gear, I went to Larry. Went down to Larry Osheim at Universal and got what I needed. If we needed something from the lumber yard, I went to Rick Ogle. And he gave us exactly what we needed to get our program off the ground, and I appreciate that very much. But first and foremost, it was the 1984 team. They came to me after the 83 season, and I think it was Mark Fellows and Tex Sikora that came first and said, train us to win. I'm like, okay, we won one game. What are you talking? Win two? No. Win it all. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they said, like the national championship. Train us like we're champions. And so it was game on. I treated them differently. And I treated them like they were champions. And I asked them to work hard, and they answered the bell. And it was just an awesome memory for us all. Terrific to be part of this new team. And again, I appreciate everything that Rick and his staff and the board have done. I look forward to coming back in future years. But thanks for coming out tonight and supporting a good cause. Appreciate it very much.